A little bit too much volume off the top there. All right. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's episode. We are going to be talking about campaign things and such. Settings, details, long-term, short-term, different systems, and a few campaigns that we have specifically for one of our DMs. And hopefully, this will help you get closer to getting to that next point of inspiration. Before we jump in, though, I'd like to thank everyone who puts time and effort to making the Mortal Woes what it is, which is an awesome place to create, learn, and play D&D with friends. If you are looking for a D&D or gaming community or a place to have fun, feel free to check our links below. You can check out our YouTube channels. We post all of our games and episodes in there, and then we also have, I believe, our Reddit, and most importantly, the Discord information, so that way you can get in here and join us, and let's have some fun. I'd also like to thank all the artists that provide us with music on artlist.io to be able to listen to some chill music to vibe to while we chat. That being said, Evan, go ahead and take it away for us. What's going on tonight?
Hello. Going on tonight? Well, I'm alone with the children.
Nice.
So that's what I got going on. But well, here, speak of the devil.
Evan just rolled for initiative real quick.
Yeah. Sorry, he wanted to know where the pizza is.
Nice.
Anyways, so yeah, talking about campaign details. I think I want to start off with long form campaign do's and don'ts. So, I mean, I would say you've done both, correct? At this point?
Yeah, I mean,
DM wise, anyways.
Yeah, so my longest game was the New Mestrian campaign. I think that was about 2 years, with weekly sessions, mostly. And then I've ran some shorter games that were about, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to about 15 sessions. And then, of course, I've done some one-shots and played some games that weren't 5e, like 10 Candles and things like that.
Have you played in a long form one yet?
So I think the first game that I got to play D&D in was potentially meant to be long form. So it started off long form, and then I ended up starting my own game. So I guess technically I have not played through in a long game format.
Okay.
But something I'm looking forward to.
Well, yeah. Coming soon.
Yeah.
at a Mortal Woes near you.
Yeah.
Anyways, uh, what are some, I guess, lessons learned from your long campaign that you ran?
Lessons learned.
Like what
Um,
grabbed the players, what made things seem to flow better? Because I'm sure there you had a night or two that, I can imagine that just didn't feel maybe as good or something. You know what I mean? Like what what are your takeaways from the whole thing?
um, I guess some takeaways would, of course, be, you know, regardless of how much time you get to put into it, because you're not always going to get, you know, all the time in the world to be able to put something together and be able to spend all the time that you want on it. But, um, you know, even if you are short on your prep time, just have fun with it, because as long as you have fun and create a fun environment, your players are probably still going to enjoy it and be thankful that, you have brought them a session. And, I think mostly just having a good group also plays a good role in that too, is
Yeah.
because, I mean, you don't really have to have a whole lot if you're playing with a good group and you're just there to have fun.
I second that one for sure.
Yeah. What
I
about
definitely
you?
played. Well, definitely, I've played in multiple long form campaigns at this point, and then lots of year one shots. I've definitely been in the situation that you said earlier about starting in a long form that ended up, stopping for just whatever reason, life, what have you. But
The Yensu game?
well, not no, I'm just various things in Galabad over the past 15 years,
Yeah, nah, I was just kidding. But
But
I mean, yeah.
yeah, that is one. But definitely the people you're playing with, because I don't know if there's when you have like that, you never want to like come to the table like dreading a person, like, oh, I have to play tonight, but so and so is gonna be there, but thankfully, I haven't. It's never been an issue for me. But I've pretty much always played with friends. Never really had like a outsider ended up not liking or something, weird like that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but I guess takeaways, something that really, uh, I would say, memorable NPCs that the players will end up reacting with, or enacting. You
Interacting?
know what I mean? Interact. There we go. That's the acting word. Interacting with like all the time. So like you're like, for instance, you've met her, the Adventurers Guild, Joylene.
Yep.
I've multiple campaigns. Like she's always been there running the bar / desk of the guild. So always been a like character that stuck with me. I thought she was a great character that Ico created, and so I think that's very important, because if the NPCs are forgettable, then most likely a lot of the story will be forgettable too.
Yeah, I think. No, I guess I don't know 100% for sure because I don't have anybody to back me up, but I believe some of my players enjoyed a character that I made that was named Scribbles. Now we had a Kevin's character was a Kenku Ranger, and I guess so far in New Mestria I have it as Kenku are kind of rare.
Mm-hmm.
And they came across another Kenku that was a mage at a place called the Lonely Tower when they were trying to escape the storm after the ritual had set in motion basically like the terraforming of Farrell's Valley into Carnea's new hold that she has. But yeah, I mean, his name was Scribbles. He was a scribe. Like, he is almost like the caretaker of this abandoned magical tower that had like this crazy magical library with inside of it. Sort of like it's the circular tower room. You know how there's bookshelves that you can slide one across and there's like another bookshelf behind it?
Right.
That's kind of how this was, but they all just slowly spun around and would reveal different sections depending on like what point they rotated, and that was like all the way up, like multiple layers, and you know, little magical things happening in between. But yeah, he'd sit there and he'd write with his feet. That was kind of his deal. I mean, you guys met Scribbles in the Blue Flame games that we've been playing as the villain, but that wasn't always true.
So he became a villain in that campaign? Or in the main campaign? Or is that just like a fun little addition for the one shot you did?
It was mainly just an addition. So in the story, you know, they were trying to escape what had been summoned and created from the ritual, and it had reached out to where they were at, or to where the tower was, and basically ended up destroying it. And all the players knew before the tower collapsed is Scribbles looking out the window, because there was like some refugees that lived in like camps around the tower that were other Kenku, and they just saw like a burst of light from a spell effect, because up on top of the tower was a teleportation circle that is linked with what I call the Flying Flocks. So it's kind of like a White Lotus-esque sort of deal. You know, you see them a lot with like couriers and coach services, where you can get like horse and wagons to take you to one place from the next, and you know, they have like a little network. But what most people don't know is that it's also like this hidden order that is set up to like be defenders of the good and trying to defeat, you know, evil forces when they arise, like Carnea.
Like a good Illuminati.
Yeah. Or like the White Lotus.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, that's how they got there in the first place, I believe, is they somehow were able to teleport at the level they were, because that's what I do, I guess. And they ended up there by mistake, pretty much. Yeah, long story short, yeah, I think they like Scribbles. Kenkus are interesting to play, and I mean, if you've ever been in a party with one, things get interesting when you can't speak. So
I've actually never seen a player play one. That's pretty cool. And speaking of which, it's a cool thing that you let them play it, knowing that they can't speak, and you know, and the things that could put on the party, and that's a do, I think, as well. Never like, what do you call it? Hindering the player's choice. Obviously, there's some things that just can't happen, but you know. for the
Yeah.
most part, a lot of character concepts are usually doable.
Yeah, I think there's like a couple of words that he spoke. 'Cause I mean, I don't go off of the Forgotten Realm, and
Yeah.
I don't go, I don't cross all the T's of every 5e rule. So, um, just like any other Kinku, I guess, in some of the lore, though, they like shinies, apparently. So that was like one of few words that he would say is, if he saw like a gem or a jewel or something sparkle, and he would just be like, shiny, and point at it.
This brings me to the next one. Because it's like making sure none of the players, I guess the do, making sure none of the players ever feel left out. I mean, I think you'll have some like very experienced players that they're just there to vibe regardless. But incorporating every character, like every character gets their moment, kind of a deal. I think is definitely a do from my experiences in long form campaigns.
Yeah, and definitely can be a campaign altering thing as well, because you have this idea of what game you're going to run, maybe even a time frame, but depending on how in depth that you want to take each individual player's backstory, can really throw that for a loop. As if you're like trying to dig really deep into each player's, those are like epic stories or chapters in the campaign that can last a long time just for one person.
Yeah. What's a don't? Is there any don'ts from when you've been DMing that you've learned?
I would
guess
say
the opposite of the do's, but
my camera's having trouble focusing. I would say don't fudge rolls. Now I know there's a lot of disagreement and arguments that you'll see on forums and things like that, where it's like, it's fine to fudge the roll if it makes sense for the story, or if you're doing it for the narrative. My thought on that is kind of, well, if you're doing it for the narrative, then don't have a roll.
Yeah, true.
Just let the narration just narrate it.
Point.
Right? If you don't want something to be to chance, then don't put the chance there.
Yeah, just narrate the whole fight scene. No big deal.
Yeah.
It's a good one. What about adding health?
You mean like on the DM side, of course?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's different. Like,
okay, cool. Then I don't feel bad now.
No, I'm definitely talking about, like, if you're attacking a player and you don't have like the shared dice, and they got like 2 HP and you crit them, just let it happen.
Oh, for sure. I agree. But I thought it's also, even if they miss, like, don't just wipe them out or wipe them out.
You're like, oh man, I really wish I could
more
damage them so I
suspenseful.
could knock him unconscious. Yeah. It's like, hey man, you know, let the dice say what's
What
up.
a good story though, on his last leg, and though that ounce of hope, and he's able to pull his sword up or his shield, the last parry, and that's a good story too. So definitely, I agree with the let the dice tell. Not saying let the dice tell the story, but
yeah,
I think we both understand what we're saying.
I think my players were fighting. I don't remember what age the dragon was, but the monk ended up using stunning strike on it whenever it got close, and I think they rolled like a 3 on the Constitution save, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, well, they're stunned for a round. Get them, guys.
Legendary resistance.
No, not at that age. It was like a young or something.
Young, yeah, okay, yeah.
So
that's funny.
I was like, it's like they can't move. They can barely speak, or they can mumble. It's like, but they can't take actions or reactions. What do you guys want to do? Freaking monks. And then you just chain stunning strike it. And
there's one time our party, this is like, I guess technically kind of my first campaign. My character was the only one that ended up swapping out. That's when I stopped playing Laverne and started playing Etma, when I created Etma. And we were fighting a black dragon, and I won a grapple after it knocked me prone, and I won I tried to grapple him, and so I ended up bench pressing its foot off of me, and it was like holding it still from that one foot.
That's awesome.
It was a great moment. Yeah. Very funny. Not every day. Speaking of that campaign, we had a character that was multiple personalities, and the player, every time the character woke up, and this is kind of a rabbit hole, but I thought this was funny to share, they would roll a D4, I think it was a D6, and it was 1 to 2 was, I think, druid, 3, 4 was, I want to say, sorcerer, and 5, 6 was fighter, something like that. But anyway, so like every day, like this halfling would like wake up and be like, why do I have this stupid walking stick?
Nice.
His personality for the day was always different, but the levels, like we were all like level 12 at this point, but the halfling was level 3, wizard or sorcerer, and then only like a level 4 druid. So each personality had its own set of levels, and how they decided what level they were, like what they would level up in, was also based on a personality die roll. So it was
that's pretty chaotic.
Pretty cool. Yeah. It was interesting.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds crazy.
Yeah. Another little funny concept that you could always let fly as a DM.
Yeah. I would.
All right. What's a don't? Let me think of a don't. Don't ever make choices. I guess choices should always feel meaningful. So, in terms of long form, because they, the players may not always go where you want them to go, kind of a deal. And I think we touched on this for like a minute and a half last week. How my group was fighting. We had like a little mini arc fighting a Sentinel uprising, the like Nazis. And then we found out that, there was a group of them where they had a bunch of goblins like held hostage, and we found out where this Sentinel bar is. So we ended up going and like trying to get information, and then like we didn't like murder everybody there, just a few of the outright racists, and burned down the whole bar by accident, kind of. Anyways, had nothing to do with where we were supposed to go. We thought it did, but Aiko was able to like roll with it, and like it felt kind of like it felt right. Like we felt like we were, going the right way with it. But in the end, we realized after, wow, this was complete side thing, but it was still fun. So definitely like don't ever like roadblock the party.
Yeah, stay flexible. Keeps things interesting. And it makes the world seem more real. If you're stuck on the train tracks, and you can feel like nothing's changing or whatever, you're like, oh, it's like I don't want to do that right now. I'm just gonna go in the shop, or I'm gonna go hang out in this bar, or let's go to a fight club, or let's go do something strange that's not a part of the quest, or not to say not that I think that you should try to go on like a whole side epic journey that isn't a part of the quest that you talked about signing up to play for, but
right,
like, well, I joined this campaign to go and conquer the Tower of Trials, but I really feel like going on a really long sea voyage. So I'm gonna go down to the docks and sail away.
Right. Yeah, that would hinder things.
It's like, wait.
But
now if it's like a completely open game to where that's fine, then more power to you.
Like a real long form campaign.
But it feels like
I definitely wouldn't consider the trials. Definitely wasn't. I mean, how long did that take? It took like 6 to 8 months. So I guess it wouldn't. I don't think it'd really fall under like a long form, and it was very. But it was like kind of set, which I guess it kind of helped me for my first like campaign, setting like some specific ground rules in the character creation in terms of like this tower appeared, and your character has like their like goal, like their big goal is like they want to get in this tower and like figure it out, or what is it, kind of a concept. So I think that kind of helped me there. But yeah, like in a long form campaign, like each of the characters we've done for the Yinsu campaign we're about to do, for the most part, everybody has like a wide difference in their backgrounds and like what they're trying to accomplish.
Should make things interesting.
Yeah. Have you, I guess, did you, with your like session 0 for your first Numestrian campaign, like how did you go about that? Did you have any limiters at all other than your survey that you?
Oh gosh, limiters.
Like in terms of like your character knows like they want to go to the tower kind of thing.
No, not that I can think of. I mean, if there are, I'm sure my players can correct me, but I don't remember specifically putting any sort of limitations beyond like, being a an alignment to where they're not going to try to kill each other.
Yeah,
but that's about it. they all kind of had their own stories. And I just used their backstories to form some way to get them to come together. So there wasn't like a common objective. They all found each other and ended up in the same place, and basically were offered like a quest, and they just, they were nice. We're all new, so everybody was like, yeah, let's do it. Who are you?
And that's one thing. I wonder, how would you go about, like, what if, you have like your first opening scene, this is kind of where you get each character kind of introduced. Like, what if they ended up not talking to each other, or, like, how would you roll with that? Would you end up doing like split scenes? Like, what do you think?
So basically what I had them do is, there's just like this carriage going from town to town, calling for, the queen's calling for champions for people to prove their worth, kind of deal. And so as far as like communicating, I didn't have any sort of deal to get them to bond with each other. Two of them were from the same order, so that took away 2 players that I, had to worry about making a connection with them. But the others, I just incorporated their backstory just to get them on the carriage. So, the Kenku, he saw the symbol of the flying flocks is like a 1 wing, and it's the same symbol that he had on a little brooch that I gave him for his cloak. And he noticed the same symbol as the brooch, and he decided to get on because he saw that symbol to find out more information, because his goal was to fly. He wanted to be able to fly as a Kenku.
Okay.
And I kind of was like, maybe you insight that maybe you could find some answers for your goal here. And and the other one was oh gosh, what's her name? Elsa, basically, from Frozen. She ran away from home and didn't have like a complete control on her magic. So just jumping on the wagon to prove self-worth sort of deal, and it's basically how everybody was. But I put them all in the same room, which the carriage was like what is that vehicle that they ride in Britain? It's like 2 stories, like a bus kind of.
Oh yeah. 2-story bus.
I imagine that in a mixture of like the tents. Well, it's all from like Harry Potter inspired, because it's the bus, like the ghost bus that takes him to the Leaky Cauldron, I think it's called. And then but on the inside, it was like how their tents are when you walk in. It's like this huge ass room compared to outside. It looks like you're just walking into a small tent, and it opens up into this large thing. Well, as soon as they get on the carriage, they notice that the carriage goes way back, and there's just like rows of rooms, almost like a train car. But they all got put in the same room, so they were kind of pressured into chatting with each other.
Toru said he likes the cliche, you're all in the tavern and you notice X, just number of freaks that don't
Number of
blend well with the
freaks.
crowd. Yeah, I've definitely been in that situation where like, oh, I walk into the bar and then you notice, so and so in the corner, it's like you got Strider, sitting in the back, staring at everybody, puffing his pipe, and in like more human town with this, lizard man just chilling on the other side. So what is he doing here?
Yeah, I think
So,
in Critical Role they describe him as a motley crew quite often.
Motley Crue. Yep. That's true. But yeah, so I guess kind of like back to the question, what would you do if, you kind of led them together, but they ended up not going together, kind of a thing?
I guess that would be when you would have to build a situation to meet some sort of common ground. Whether something happens and their principles get in the way, and so the idea is that, generally when you have a group, most of the time they may not want the same thing in the end, as far as like little things, like maybe somebody wants to make a bunch of money, or somebody wants to be a monster hunter, or somebody's just trying to be like this holy paladin on a quest. But you just got to find the common denominator between them that would make them want to band together to pursue something.
Right.
But I guess there's also the part too where, you are people in a game. So you would think that the players would want to play together, right? So
Right. This is more of like just a big what if, because
yeah.
I could see it happening, well, my character does, I'm just role playing. That's not what my character would want to do, or whatever.
Yeah, I would attempt to create, multiple circumstances or encounters or just different things that would potentially bring the group together. And, if all of those were failed attempts, then, I'd probably just talk to the player and be like, hey, it's like, what's it going to take to get you to play the same game as everyone else? Because I can't,
Right.
I'm not going to run 2 campaigns, unfortunately, Like
Right.
I want you to play your character, but I also can't run I'm not going to run 2 separate campaigns, because once you get into 2 different combat scenarios, that could be very confusing and time consuming for everyone. And
yeah.
not that I don't like players going off on their own and having the little solo scenes and stuff like that, but it's a little bit different whenever you're trying to go and run, like do your like own campaign within a campaign.
Right.
So it's just not very practical. If you wanted a solo game, then that needed to be addressed a while back, and maybe there's a different game for that.
Solo D&D.
ChatGPT, can you D&D? Can you be my dungeon master? Yes.
All right. So, I guess we can move on to short form, do's and don'ts.
All right.
Or just pros and cons, I guess. It doesn't necessarily have to be do's and don'ts. But, personally, I think a pro to it is it's like, just instant story arc. You know what I mean? Like straight to the point. Characters are built for that story specifically. And that's like one of the things I think is great about it.
Yeah, I find myself getting ideas left and right, like, oh, I want to run this kind of game, or oh, it'd be cool to run a game in this area of the world, or this theme, or and then once you're in a long-term campaign, not that you couldn't run multiples, but it's just like it's like I'm stuck in this long-term game, but I have so many ideas and I want to run this and that. And if you run short terms that are only a few sessions long, you can enjoy the extreme variety, and it also allows you to play games with different players, meet new people, different game styles, different PC flavoring, especially when you get like a variety of different players. So there are a lot of pros to it.
Yeah, for sure. That's one thing that I like with our attempt with Mortal Woes is getting more players, and hopefully more DMs too, because that could bring in being able to play with multiple different people has always been like a cool concept to me. That, like when we started the Dread Marches, that's what I really liked about it. I played with a ton of different people in like just a couple weeks. That was really cool. But
yeah, we started off was it like in the winter a couple years back, and yeah, we were playing games left and right. We had people submitting different maps, creating different one shots and things like that, and people signing up to play them, what the Dread Marches is intended for. And that slowly died out, unfortunately, but we got a few DMs in the group now to where there's usually a couple of different games going on, so it's not too far off. But I would like to I think it would be great to see games being put up in the map room and trying to recruit players for these one shots, or to utilize the Dread March system where you can slowly climb up and rank and gain experience per mission or encounter and things like that.
I actually have a coworker that has leveled from 1 to 20 through like originally called West March. So it's interesting that it took them about 3 years to get their character all the way up. But it's just cool because they still got to see the character growth and experience tons of different stories, and yeah, definitely something I think with just a bit of effort could be revitalized. But at the same time, we have a whole bunch of, obviously our big effort has went into combining these worlds, and I think that is okay. I don't think we did like a wrong thing by any means.
Yeah.
But yeah, back on short form. Do you consider a one shot, if it tells a whole story, to be short form? Just a random question I just thought of.
I wouldn't consider it a long form.
Oh yeah.
But those are my only two choices. Are one shots their own thing?
Right. Yeah.
Like, would they not count as a short form? I guess if you're adding or solidifying the term campaign behind each of them, then maybe not.
True.
So, like, if a campaign is more like a mini series, or
yeah,
like what is long term versus short term? Is it a year? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Isn't there a scene in a show where they're like, is it 15? 20? Is it 25?
How long is a long
Probably The Office
form campaign?
I think that's just open for interpretation to
Yeah,
whoever's playing or whoever's running, really. But I guess if it's truly a one shot and not just like a one shot that ends up being 3 sessions, and I guess
That's
one
never-
shots are
that's
one
never
shots, and
happened.
then there's, I would say, I guess they're separate.
Okay. So according to this article, the short term can be wrapped up in a year or two.
All right then.
Maybe we got ours mixed up.
Toru, how long can a game be going till it transforms from short term to long term? 10 sessions, 20? Yeah. Yeah, it's the conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it just kind of depends on, who's playing and who's running it.
So I think you can base it off of this. This is data from Cosmic Draft. A average official D&D campaign, so it'd be an official, temp or what do you call it, module pushed from Wizards of the Coast is about 80 to 100 hours or 24 to 30 weeks. So I guess a good way to break it down, or an easy way to break it down, is anything before that would be a short campaign, and anything above that would be considered a long campaign. So, yes, really, anything above like 7 to 8 months would be a long campaign.
Then I guess how frequent do you play?
Yeah. This is based on weekly sessions. Is what this article is based off of.
So yeah, then I guess I would say that one shots and short term are not the same.
Yeah, I agree. They aren't.
Like not even like 3 sessions, or I guess that would still be a one shot.
Yeah.
Just parts separated.
So, I wonder, what do you think of this? This isn't really long or short form, really part of the talking point, but do you think this is possible, or do you think people would bite to this with like the mini series that you make? If you like sat down, took time to like make a few of them, have them kind of ready and prepared, and like run the same players / characters through each of these as like story arcs, like seasons of a show almost.
Would they be connected in some way?
Maybe, yeah, I guess maybe.
But you just have enough planned out to where it lasts
Right.
for the duration of a short term.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
that would be
random.
pretty cool.
It's a random thought.
Yeah. Guess you don't have to really build it all at the same time, but maybe just have the idea in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm. Or be like it's like the to be continued. It takes like a year and a half for some of the animes to get finished animating and produced, right? So we'll meet again.
Sword Village.
When the next arc is finished.
Damn Sword Village. Toru, interesting. So the system also influences what a short / long campaign is. Like a long campaign of Dungeon World can be done in like 8 sessions, 10 at most. The Vampire Masquerade short campaign can be as long as 20 sessions, even more. Yeah,
That's cool.
So I mean, yeah, for sure. Different game systems definitely have a huge influence on time frame and what happens. Especially, I think, how strict or how tight you stick to rules as well, because a lot of times in my games, if you're traveling from one place to the next, if you're traveling pretty far, like I don't think most people don't want to have to spend like a few sessions just traveling. I think people would rather just kind of do the old fast travel switch and, you know, get to the next part of the story. Now, I'm can't speak for everybody because, I mean, there is traveling and traveling scenes and then random encounters has its place, of course. But if you do account for all of that traveling, I mean, you know, that can really draw out a game a lot longer than you might intend if you're spending multiple sessions just traveling from one place to the next. But also, again, how long is a session? Yeah. Yep. Time.
So, let me think of like, so initially, when I first started the tower, I started as a Dread March series kind of a thing, where I planned each floor as its own one shot, and the first one was the players getting to the tower, and just for the first time. And I actually had like the scenes, of each different days while they were traveling, like encounters they ran into, like the deadly badgers and the bandits on the bridge and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can really get into traveling if you really need to, especially if you're trying to. I think it's a really good time for setting a mood. Like if, they're like feeling watched, you can have them do that travel time. Like they're sitting by the campfire, and I think it's definitely a tool to be used. But at the same time, you don't want to spend every other session, just riding in a carriage.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not knocking traveling at all either. There's cool things come out of traveling for sure. But yeah, traveling to each destination and but I guess if you're, there for the nice slow ride of adventuring, then traveling is just perfectly fine. I guess it just depends on the DM and what the group wants to do, and that can be discussed in like a session 0 or anytime in the middle of the campaign or whatever, whenever somebody thinks there needs to be a change. Let's see, I had a few comments here. Toru, that is really neat spot to me, but I have some friends who prefer shorter sessions, like 2 hours at most. Yeah. I think the majority of my sessions have always been just like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes a little bit longer to kick off, so anywhere from 2 to 3 is typically what I like to try to get in at least. But it is what it is. And again, if you don't always get the amount of game that you want in, as long as everybody's having fun, Gear has a few comments here. How do you feel about you sign that time for random encounters, giving rewards, encountering people of the world? How do I feel about you sign? What is? I'm assuming that's a typo, but
using.
Oh, using. Okay, yeah. I am unable to fill in blanks. So, how do you feel about using that time for random encounters? Yeah. I mean, traveling's I feel like one of the perfect times for random encounters. I think I seen a setup at one point to where the video depicted it as a bridge almost. So they do kind of fast travel, but there's also room for random encounters. So it's like you put a token. Imagine you're on a bridge made up of 6 sections. Bleh. In each section, you roll to see, if like a random encounter or something happens, or you make checks to either decrease or increase chances of that specific thing. But once you get to the end of that last section, you get to your destination, but you still have all of those chances to roll and activate some sort of random encounter during your journey.
Like that. It was like the next one about giving rewards and encountering people. I think it's also like you don't even necessarily have to do random encounters. You could like use that time to like fill in or give snippets to someone's what do you call it? I remember you guys used a word for it, but my brain's not working. But like a little flavor for someone's story, or little bits for like a character, like one of the players' characters to hold on to, or like flashback or dream,
Yeah, just highlight
little RP scenarios,
backstory a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a decent time for some of those.
Encountering people, yeah, definitely. Especially if you're using roads. I mean, surely that's something I kind of thought about the other day after I was watching an episode. Me and my wife started watching the second campaign of Critical Role. After the kid goes to bed, we try to watch a couple hours of that, and they're riding to Zadash in their little horse and buggy, and Matt started describing like a convoy coming from the opposite direction. Nothing came of it, but there's just a large convoy, and they noticed some of like not the kings, but whatever the main like authority faction is, the Crown's Guard, I think they called it. Yeah, just not that matters, but just populating your world with these people, like other people are going to be using the roads, right? You're not the only ones out there. If anything, people are going to probably use them more often than you do, as far as like trade or professions and things of that nature.
Makes the world feel lived in, like outside of your party's bubble.
Yeah.
Like even though you're not in town, there's still bar fights. There's still, things are happening. People are living.
Exactly. What's the next one here? Toru. But I had DM'd some crazy 12-hour plus sessions in the past. They are really fun when they are a special thing. Don't do this on a regular basis. Even if you, for some reason, have the time to spend like that, you and your players will be burnt out. And then Gear says, the players are the only ones causing bar fights, we all know. It's true.
Typically.
They never happen. You never know that they happen until you're there, right? And you need proof. Visual proof.
I had a player in a campaign where we caused a ruckus, specifically this player, to where he got in a fight with this dwarf who like axed him to the wall. And so it became like the meme. Any bar or tavern we walked into, that dwarf just happened to be there. We'd walk in, and immediately an axe would come from across the room and just axe him to the wall, like stick him to the wall. It was a good time. I love comedy bits. They're my favorite.
As far as 12-hour plus sessions, though, I haven't got to experience that. Although, yeah, I'm not sure if I would like that or not. The way I think my DMing style probably wouldn't be the greatest. I feel like I would have to have a lot of preparing time, because I like to prepare a lot for my sessions, and then to prep for 12 hours and to be able to keep the creative energy flowing. I mean, of course, with breaks and stuff. But I mean, I'd like to try it at least at some point. Maybe not 12 hours the first time, but I'd like to try a like a session. You know, it'd be fun to play a session that goes on for like half a day or something.
It's kind of like how we played almost every weekend my senior year of high school. We would start playing like in the evening sometime, 7 to 8 at night. We'd play until like 2 to 3 in the morning, go to Denny's, come back and play till the sun comes up, and then pass out and sleep all day and do it again. But yeah, I don't think that'd be hard to do these days.
Yeah,
go to sleep early.
a lot of things on the plate, so to speak.
Yeah. 24-hour live stream session. That'd be fun, actually. That's a good idea.
Live stream session to get the viewership up. Yeah, let's just take turns. We'll switch off, right?
Switch campaigns in the middle of it. Just keep the camera rolling.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think just a 24-hour session of. Well, I mean, you have to keep all the players going too.
That would be the hardest part. Is same characters, same story. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, switch DMs. Yeah, that'd be sick. I'll be asleep after 2 hours. Let's go.
That's funny.
That'd be perfect. Then we can just have like a collage of pictures of Night Fury passed out. Justin knows what I'm talking about. Or Gear.
Gear, we need to revisit the laboratory and see if Night Fury is still sleeping in there.
She's still sleeping in a lab?
Yeah, so we were locked down in a laboratory. I remember off the top of my head, there was something we had to get out of the lab. But during that 24 hours, like every action was like 10 minutes. And so like the lab was like filling up or like getting more deadly, like gas. Was it gas? I don't know, it was fun. That's when I made Slip Pipes McGillicuddy. I love that character. But well,
yeah, Night Fury is also immortalized in one of a haunted house game that I ran. So, if you guys ever find yourself in a haunted house and run into a porcelain doll that's in like a broken down rocking chair in a dark room that is very ominous, and you know, you see the head sort of and the deep blackened shadows that make up the eyes stare back at you. That's that's Night Fury. My soul is in it for sure. Yeah, people walk by the porcelain doll, they hear like the faint screams trying to get out.
All right,
it's perfect.
You want to try a scenario or sorry, what do you call it? What do we call them? Bits, something like that.
I don't know. Segments.
Yeah, sorry, my brain is mush.
Segments, bits, doodads, thingies, thingamabobs, thingamajigs.
Are you saying the Joe Dirt fireworks?
No, but now that you say that, I immediately was like, oh, maybe I was saying.
That's funny. Anyway, so we're going to create an NPC.
Oh. Let's do it.
So what kind of NPC do we want to create? I guess we'll pick. Do we want this to be like a big evil bad? Majestic hero. barkeep. What do we think?
How about a comedic big bad?
Comedic big bad. I haven't. Okay. So I'm gonna name off the monster, and it's what do you call it? Flaw. It's a beholder, but it's a germaphobe. So each of its like like floaty tentacles has like rubber gloves on each one.
All right.
So I guess what's another descriptor? Personality wise, or maybe a special ability it has because of it, its flaw, or
desanitizing gaze. Or sanitizing gaze is what it'd be. Not desanitizing.
What's the
you have to roll
ability do?
You have to roll a 13 DC save or get hit by prestidigitation, which cleans your entire body. Or whatever the description for prestidigitation is. It like washes all your clothes off, basically. Like once you get hit by this little beam of cleaning energy that looks like the sheen off of like Mr. Clean comes flying at you, and then your clothes and your body's just completely eradicated of dirt and soot, and you sparkle. And you even smell like somebody like went the extra step and used dryer sheets.
so like after you get hit by the ray and you're clean, and then like you like reach into your pocket where your coin was and you pull out dryer sheets.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's perfect.
Ah!
You stole my money, but I smell so fresh.
It's like I feel like the beholder like would haunt this domain that it's in, because it's usually a guardian of something. So you like enter the fortress, or wherever it's, and this kind of reminds me of Sir Zelik, one of the four horsemen from Naxxramas. And when you enter the military wing, you'll hear him like yelling like, "No, leave this place," because he was bound by the Lich King, but he still had like his personality. He was a holy man before he became a horseman. So it'd be like, oh, you'd hear these whispers like, "Leave this place. You're dirty. Get away."
I'm trying to clean.
Like, what? Where's this coming from? Players don't know like what. Do you hear that?
There's too much work to be done. So much spring cleaning. Not enough done. Yes.
What's prestidigitation everywhere?
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's like 3 of its rolls on the table. Like when you roll a raise, 3 of them are prestidigitation.
You go and you find a chest in the boss room and open it up, and it's just like nothing but bottles of Fabuloso and like the white little Mr. Clean scrubs and like Clorox pins.
What we gotta think of a name.
For
some reason
the sanitizing
name
beholder.
Yeah, the name Philip, just I don't know why. The name Philip is just, that's all I can think of. That sounds like a germaphobe beholder.
Philip Cleansington.
Philip Cleansington. Oh, does he have like a butler voice too? Is he actually the butler? No, he's not just the guardian of this, sacred treasure. He's the butler for the entire estate.
Philip Cleansington III.
Has a giant monocle.
This place clean. Cleaner than you could ever imagine. Shall I perform the white glove test? Nothing.
He has ray of shoes at the door. DC 15 to blast your shoes off and teleport them to the front door of the estate. How dare you track mud? Jeez.
Do not read the sign.
Oh gosh. That's a good one. Every time I encounter a beholder from now on, that's that's what I'm gonna think of. All right. You wanna do one more?
I've got the secret. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
This music's a little too upbeat for me.
Like Gear, this is another adventurer who's following you. Wants your loot. Someone you're always a step ahead, and they're really mad. So like you're like the rival in Pokemon. You always encounter them, and it's like I'm gonna best you. You know.
Always step ahead, yeah. They're on the same quest.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a different reference that is actually comedic. I was just like showing up late. I'm like, oh, sorry, we just gave the last one out. Damn it!
Every time like every time you kill the dragon, or you know, every time you get the big loot, and like you're like walking out of the, you know, doomed evil castle, you know, you just slayed the lich, and beat you to it. It's like, no, I just got here.
Or you walk out with like the legendary sword,
Yeah.
like all beaten up and bloodied and bruised, and I did it! I finally did it! And as soon as you walk outside, there's like 8 other people holding the same sword. Yeah, man, I got this like 30 minutes ago. Like, what? Yeah, I was world first.
World first.
They're really invested and capable, but your group keeps bumbling through.
That'd be interesting. Or what would it take to have that happen, though? Would it take a like someone's backstory, like this? You know, they have this rival. You know, is that what? Or do you just have to somehow introduce it? Maybe like there's a tournament somewhere, and this person came in second place, so they're like permanently, you know, mad at you and trying to best you for the rest of the campaign.
That would be a good way to like just single-handedly make your entire group like hate one person. That rival is just like always a step ahead of them. Like, so you take a bounty to like go kill a monster, and as soon as you get down to like the end of the dungeon where the creature is, they're like already walking back with the kill on their back.
Oh, so you're saying that the rival is beating the party? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. I was interpreting as we keep beating the rival, and that's why the rival keeps following the party.
Oh. No,
Yeah.
I was thinking of the other way, like, dang it, this asshole is always one step ahead of us.
So who's marrying the king's daughter?
Yes, either way is fun. Oh, no, we are ahead of them. Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking it was, you know, we started off with like the Pokemon reference, and I think Gary is always like ahead, isn't he? Well, I guess it just depends what. I mean, he always gets to pick the Pokemon that counters you. So
But you always beat him still, right?
maybe.
Usually.
I mean, you always end up being like the champion of the game because it's,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, so now we're ahead of them, and they're truly invested, and you just keep bumbling through. Okay, yeah, so they're like this talented, trained, like golden warrior, and you guys are just like the group of misfits, and you're like, what? How do you guys keep doing this? It's like I
How
am
did you get here
from
before me?
descendant of a ancient demigod bloodline, and well, you're effing Jerry from the bar down the road. What the hell? F you, Jerry.
uh,
I've trained my whole life for this. And you just came in here and tripped over a branch, and your slingshot accidentally hit it in the eye, and it fell over, and you don't understand who's writing on this.
oh, so they're trying to marry the king. So they need this, or they can't marry the king's daughter. So they keep taking the trophies. So no,
Not again.
my self-worth, my dowry's riding on this. Yeah, that's funny. All right. What character do we want to make now? So, well, what would because good and evil is kind of, well, maybe, oh, no, maybe not necessarily good and evil, but good and bad. I think those are two different things. Good and evil versus good or bad, because you can do like bad things that aren't inherently evil, but genocide I would consider evil, right?
Yeah, open to
Anyways,
interpretation, and which side you're on, and um, what you believe to be good and evil, I suppose.
so what would a hero of, was it Dregarth? How do you pronounce that deity's name in Nemestria?
Dragorth.
Dragorth. What would a hero or like a champion of Dragorth look like? We could build one right now.
Um, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty kind of loaded a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, what would the stereotyped champion of Dragorth
Yeah.
be?
Yeah. So like,
Just like like a Black Knight, you know.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I would imagine. Essentially, like this. I don't know if you're familiar with like the ebony armor from like Elder Scrolls or
Right.
stuff like that. But yeah, basically like this, like sort of dark or blackened like onyx armor that comes to sharp edges, some sort of insignia resembling death, perhaps balance as well. So that's something that Vragan and Dragorth have in common. Not to like break into each other's spaces, but Dragorth's all about like if you're supposed to go to the right place, and he's the one that chooses who who goes where.
What class would this champion be?
Oh
What
gosh.
class is?
Clerics for sure. I know paladins are oaths now and not divine necessarily, or
right.
are meant to follow deities, but I feel like every time I play a paladin, I prefer to still stick with like the idea of following a deity.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think for like? So if we go with clerics, this is a cleric of Dregorth. Would it be, you think, death, or? I mean, honestly, with what you're saying, would peace work? What makes a peace cleric? Heroism, sanctuary. Maybe not. Well, word of purity, restoration. Maybe not. But I was thinking like peaceful death.
Now, one of the
Yeah.
characters, Life, he plays, I think, a grave domain cleric, which is,
Okay.
I mean, he essentially releases the souls to Dragorth.
Okay.
And, like, if something dies, that doesn't always mean that it's gonna pass on. That's how you get like haunting spirits and things like that. They're not ready to cross over, but I think that's something easily flavored with the grave domain cleric, is you help the dying cross over, so that way the next path of their journey can begin.
So, would
Took
you
the astral.
consider?
I took Astral Drifter and spent 69 years at the gates with Dragorth. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you wouldn't consider? I mean, Dregorth may look it, but you don't consider Dregorth to be evil?
No. I consider him to be extremely neutral.
Okay.
Um, yeah, extremely neutral. Um, doesn't really matter, if they're good or evil, but like if you were altering the path of the fallen to benefit you in some way or another, then um, do it enough and you might find yourself um, in some sort of contact or signs showing you that, hey, you're stepping on some toes. Especially if you're not, somebody on the same level.
I was thinking the same thing. Gear. Dregorth is lawful.
Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm not like too great with alignments, but it makes sense. Like there's an order to things, right?
Yeah.
He's
Right.
all
There
about
are laws to the
the
flow
judgment.
of the afterlife and stuff.
Like Dragorth is, the person with the gavel, right? The gate, the gateman, or what? No, the boatman, the ferryman, the
ferryman.
the Grim
Yeah.
Reaper,
Boatman.
all combined into one. Give me your coins.
For some reason, it made me think of Bring Out Your Dead from Monty Python. I don't know if you've ever seen that skit, but anyways, well, I guess we can get to our last topic for this last bit of time.
Okay.
Different systems.
Uh-oh.
What other have you tried any other systems or like looked into any?
I think, well, I know that I've played Tin Candles, um,
Oh yeah.
which I enjoy playing. I just can't play it all the time. Like I couldn't play Tin Candles, um, like every week or something like that.
Right.
Um, but I do enjoy playing it whenever I do play it. I've ran a Tin Candles game before, maybe a couple of games, but um, Justin really liked my haunted house game. I ran that with Tin Candles. And I thought it worked out really well too. I think what was Barrett and Monica was actually scared. Nice. But yeah, I had like a soundboard going, and you know, they're inside this haunted house. Is really like Scooby Doo flavored, and they get in there, and I use a soundboard to like make the telephone randomly ring, and like pages flip as they walk by desks and things like that. Uh,
That's
it was
cool.
on point. I don't know if I could ever recreate it, but um, you know, whoever was in the game, I'm glad you guys had a good time for sure. I think we did scare Barrett pretty good though. 'Cause, we asked everybody to play in the dark too. And I can't remember. Did you guys go knock on his door to try to give him something, and he like screamed out loud or something? I can't remember exactly what happened, but I think he did. Yeah. It's like I think they were neighbors, and the game was going on, and I can't remember what they were doing, but they went and knocked on his door, and you just hear like this scream over the mic.
That's awesome.
Dropping on. Yeah. That's hilarious. And he yelled, "Come the fucking here." Justin ran us through a session of Blades in the Dark, which I thought was fun. I'd be willing to play that again at some point. I believe that game is set up to where you can play definitely multiple sessions because you're like go on missions or heist, or you're like part of this group, and I think there's some sort of slow, or maybe not slow, but there's some sort of evolving RPG element to it, like for your
Right.
hideout or something like that. I'm pretty sure.
Would Blades in the Dark be able to transfer into like a long would you be able to play it like in Kanu or on Morta?
I believe so.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Is it a D6 system or D20?
I don't remember. I'm sure Gear knows. He's saying yes, yes, yes. He wants to do it in the scene. He said
D20.
20.
Okay.
And then Gear also ran a game a long time ago using the Fate system. And
That's one I've always wanted to like get into, but I've never have.
Yeah, I basically played Rick Sanchez, and I think Udir was the main boss that we were trying to go after. So I think Shane was playing with us as like some sort of like Western character. It was a good time.
Have you ever heard of Shadowrun?
I have heard of it, but I've never played it.
Shadowrun is a very good time. I wouldn't say post-apocalyptic, but it's definitely like a future. The original their products, from Shadowrun. It's a futuristic like America where people have like mutated and stuff like that into like orcs and trolls and elves and whatnot. Yeah, just dystopian future, and it's very cool. And when you like build a character, it's a D20 system, but like when you build a character, you can like get prosthetic limbs, like metal prosthetic limbs and stuff, and you lose like part of your life force for doing so. I remember I played like a troll that used a riot shield, and I had a shotgun like under my, so my wrist would come, or my hand would go up, and like a shotgun barrel comes out of my wrist. But I made the guy like pure tank. It was very fun. I carried like a tech, like a little like kid tech dude. He like had bionics drones and things. I carried him in my backpack. He was one of the other players that I carried around in a backpack to operate his devices.
Nice.
But
sounds fun.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like in that future, the like whole like west, like northwest of America is completely locked down and run by Native American like casino world. And yeah, it's interesting how they broke it down. But I think the system itself could easily transfer, like if you ever, especially if we have the, you know, Hydraverse, this other universe, or even this one that we're in, you know, far into the future where we have cybernet, you know, cyberpunk, you know, whenever technology eventually evolves that far, I think that'd be something that if people are ever looking into running a different game for Mortal Woes, I think that would be possible. I think that'd be really cool. But
yeah, I'll be reaching out.
You'd almost, yeah, you wouldn't have to like start completely from scratch, but you definitely have to like kind of remodel the lands, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
aside from that,
I guess every city looks like Coruscant, and
yeah, essentially some of them completely broken down, you know, like devastated cities too.
Yeah, I think like this would be like a perfect topic for Gear to be a part of, is I know several times, you know, we'll post different types of games that you like to try.
Yeah,
then I'm also interested. So maybe we can get that going at some point. If there were enough people, I would run Blades in the Dark game long term. Yeah.
So this campaign that I'm setting up right now, I was very close to running index card RPG for it. Very close. But so with index card RPG, I think I kind of described it before. It is technically a D20 system, but I guess it depends on if you're doing like a roll you're good at or not. If you use like a D6, or if it's a basic roll, it's like D4, I think, or a not good, or if you're weak at the skill or whatever, you roll a D4. If it's a basic roll, it's a D6. And I think if you're skilled, or can't remember the exact term off the top of my head, you know, it's a D20. And then there's each of the base classes each have a subclass to them that you can like pick into, but it's also based on what do you call it? It's based to do like whatever you want. So like even the class I'm playing in it, like on the Thursday game, technically isn't like what's in their book, but because the rules are written to be like, I don't say rules written to be broken, but you know, interpreted. And then if you're a caster, I guess pretty much everyone has a domain and then like a word. So like one of the characters is metal and lightning, And so they're like a pack rat support character. They have a bunch of items, and so they'll use like this metal rod and be like, lightning, like Nova, and like they'll throw their stake into the ground and it'll cause like lightning to blast outwards, or they'll pretty much manipulate it based on your words and what happens with your spells. So you can kind of make up your own spells on the fly in a way. And like Aiko's character is a bard, and their word is concert. So a lot of times Aiko will use spells. Aiko want to, put all of the party in concert with me to, use like to cause them to like move fluently in battle to give us a bonus to like our attacks, and or to do the opposite, cause the enemies to be in concert to, befuddle them. We've also done ways to make us where we could manipulate speech based on being in concert with each other. It's pretty cool. Very open-ended, very fun for role-playing for sure. And so I was very tempted to do that because I thought that'd be fun, especially with the experienced players that we're gonna have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you ever need to, I'm sure we'd all be fine with trialing a session. If you just ever felt like throwing one in.
Or just like a one-shot even, just to test it out.
Yeah. All right, let's do it tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody get on. Night Fury. I would like to try some one-page RPG games. As like one-shot or short 3 to 5 session campaigns. Yeah, I was looking at some of those the other day. I forget the name completely, but it's like lasers and something. But it was like a reskin for that. It looked like it, Adventure Time, kind of.
Oh, that's cool.
All Out of Bubblegum. I've heard of that one. But I forget what it is specifically. I think it's supposed to be like a Star Trek theme, but they kind of changed it over and it was like Adventure Time. I was like, that would be fun to play a little Adventure Time theme game too.
Mm-hmm.
All Out of Bubblegum. Yeah, we should really do that at least a couple sessions. Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. If it makes, if it makes the first sessions of your campaign easier to run it through that system, then by all means,
Right.
Come on, grab your friends. It's time to travel to distant lands or something like that.
I guess the last one, but Bessem. I've set up so many characters for Bessem, and I've yet to play Bessem a single time. So,
yeah, I think I've seen the book PDF, but
I've built a good handful for like these games that was gonna be played from various DMs that I know, and just never. It was sad. It made me sad. I think one actually was, I want to say, like maybe 12 years ago from Justin.
12 years?
Near like my intro, right after like my introduction to D&D. I remember we talked about Bessem once, and that was a long time ago though. But then like with like Aiko and Ben and stuff, we talked about setting up Bessem campaigns or characters, and would have been longer. Yeah, maybe. I remember it was a long time ago. Like we were still in school, I think. So I guess it would be a lot longer, but But anyways, yeah, I always thought that concept is, the anime vibes. I always thought would be super fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm flavoring my guy.
I don't
Yes.
even know that much about Bessem other than building the characters. I don't know like how the combat works or
I think that's what
anything.
deters me is like, I mean, I typically want to run the games, so I'll have to learn
Hmm.
how to run the games.
Right.
It's like there's so much stuff that I don't even know about the current game that I play. So, it's a little uh a lighter term than intimidating, but
Mhm.
I just don't know how to play it. Like I don't know how to run it. Otherwise I'd be
Yeah.
more open, but you know, games like that or, a lot of the games there's just like so much stuff and having the time to like sit down and go through it, like even watching videos and stuff, you know, to fast track is just like uh and now that I'm kind of comfortable a little bit with one system, it's like, could I get by with just doing it in 5e?
Yeah, I definitely feel that. And especially since we were pretty hard based in a homebrew world anyways. If people really want to add flavor or like custom spells, like that stuff can be done
Mm-hmm.
pretty easily for the most part. But
Yeah. Yeah, anything homebrew really.
um
Read a
and then
400
there's
HP. Whoa.
Daggerheart.
Yeah. What was it? August? They're supposed to be having a
Uh
display at Gen Con.
Gen Con. Yep.
So,
Can't wait.
if, and I'm sure that it'll be similar because, I mean, Critical Role likes Dungeons and Dragons, so I don't see them straying too far away from it. It's got to be somewhere in the same realm. It's not. I don't think that it's going to be too far off of what they're used to, but just based off of like following and fan base and uh, the sort of crowd or product that I'm looking for, um, I would definitely probably spend time to learn that game and see how that
Yeah, I
goes.
agree.
Yeah,
I definitely.
I think it's story based. Yeah, because I mean that's kind of what I typically aim for, anyways. I try to create a decent story arc with my games. Um, so hopefully that'll help me highlight stuff that I'm better at. We'll see. Nobody knows yet, I guess.
Yeah.
haven't seen anything, so I am excited to see what that turns out. Where is Gen Con?
That's
We getting tickets?
Gen Con. Let's look it up. Gen Con.
Where's Gen Con, everyone? It's probably
August 3rd through the
California,
6th. Indy.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Really? Are they sold out?
Indianapolis.
Oh, Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, Indiana. Get your badge.
How much does that cost?
I gotta
Yep.
make an account.
Yeah, are we gonna set up a Mortal Woes table?
That'd be cool.
I mean, that would be probably a
Gen
good
Con event
idea.
registration will be open at noon, May 21st. The event catalog will be published approximately 2 weeks prior. Yeah.
Wait, So brain fog, but can you buy
On the
access, or
21st.
do you have to? Is it like a first come?
So it looks like registration opens up on the 21st. So on the 21st, you can.
The 21st of August, right?
21st of May is when it opens to
Oh.
be purchased.
All right. And it's in August. All right, guys. Well, you're gonna see more woes at Gen Con this year. We need
That'd
to
be
start
awesome.
getting some T-shirts and hats made. Yeah,
Well-
that'd be exciting. Stickers, yeah, everything.
We should.
Keychains, baubles. I'm just gonna have like a stand that I carry on my back that has all of the put the stickers everywhere. Yes. Sir, you can't put a stick. I just did it. Please like and subscribe. It's like, after you do that, I'll remove the stick. No. Yeah, we should definitely try to come up with something to hand out to promote. If we ended up doing that, I would like to. I'll
QR
Definitely.
code business cards.
yeah, definitely. We'll look into getting that going for sure. All right, everybody in the chat, plan on a Gen Con trip.
That'd be sweet.
It's an anime/game convention. Oh, San Japan. I thought you were talking about the Gen Con. I was like, cool. I like both of those things. I'm assuming Indiana's a lot closer, though. But I don't know.
Well, so we're reaching that time, sadly,
Yeah.
already.
Yep.
Thanks to everyone for hanging out. Had fun building characters with you guys. Hope everyone that watched learned some, good pros and cons and do's and don'ts for, if you want to run a long campaign or your short campaigns. Talked a little bit about some different systems that you can look into, some that we kind of know about, some we just know of. And
Maybe we can highlight these sessions if we get Justin in here next week.
yeah,
'Cause
he knows about a few.
I know he
a lot
knows
more.
a lot more about Blades in the Dark and multiple other games for sure. Also, we have a game tomorrow, first session of Vinewood, so that'll be happening, I believe, around 7 p.m. Central to about 10. So Toru, get your character made. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.
Later.
Bye.